When talking to the SAP ecosystem, they would often categorize sexy front ends as almost a gadget, not as sophisticated technology as an ERP or as a data warehouse. And I would say in terms of complexity of coding, they might be right from a development standpoint. But what is important for us is what is the value for the end customer. And for the business departments, they usually don't see the complexity in the ERP or in the data warehouse. They are just enablers of the task that they need to perform. And what they see is the front end on the screen, the tool that they are actually interacting with. And this is for them what is carrying the most value. And definitely ease of use of the front end is something that the end users will see as carrying the most value. Therefore, this is something that we need to demonstrate in the sales cycles. Now, the other change of mind that is required is that BW and BEX was usually sold to a few power users that would then build the queries, build a few reports, and quite often download data into Excel and then send it to a lot of different people. Here the goal with the new offering is to actually sell the front end or sell the access to data to all users. So instead of focusing on a small population of power users, the idea is to sell BI on every desktop, because everybody is making decisions in a company nowadays. It is no more a time where high-level people make decisions and that's it. Everybody in his current job, starting with, let's say, a sales representative in the morning on how he's going to use his time. What are the customers that he needs to spend more time with because they present a higher chance of success than others. So we see that at every level on the field, we make decisions based on intuition or based on real facts that our BI system is giving us. Then, what is the natural contact for BI pre-acquisition? Well, partners and SAP sales representatives were mainly talking of NetWeaver BI with their IT contacts, because it was already a question of implementation and how the extractors would work and how often you would refresh the data. And it wasn't so much a question of what decisions we need to make, and therefore which data needs to be carried into the data warehouse. And talking to the business departments about how they want to use the data and which data needs to be tracked for them to make decisions. So there is also here a new attitude to adopt, which is to go and talk to the business departments and involve them in the sales cycle, because they are bringing not only influence in the choice, but also they are bringing important information as to how the BI system is going to be used. All these elements that correspond to a shift in mind of what is BI and how to sell it have implications on the sales cycle. The maturity of ERP is very different from the maturity of BI on the market. ERP has been around for 20 years or so. BI in its current format is more like in the last 5 to 10 years. Therefore, it is still taking very different forms from different vendors. If you compare BI from Microsoft or BI from SAP Business Objects or BI from ClickTech, it is a totally different set of functionalities that you are comparing. The reason I'm bringing this to the table is it has implication on the sales cycle. ERP projects are usually from 9 to 12 months, eventually longer. BI sales cycles can be down to 3 weeks, up to 12 months in the large enterprise sector. But quite often they correspond first to departmental tactical projects, and it is very important to be very proactive and very early discussing with the customer in order to win these projects. The process of choosing BI has a difference to the ERP, where the process is very customer-driven, where the customer knows exactly which phases he's going to conduct with the different vendors. In BI is a lot more erratic and therefore can be a lot more vendor-driven. If you are more proactive, if you approach your customer faster, if you nail down the project scope, the number of users, how fast they want to implement, which departments to talk to, then you are likely to win this project more than other vendors that will take their time and think they have 6 months or 9 months to make the customer choose a solution. The demonstration in ERP, you were not used to demo, or even on the BI side, you were not used to demo because the front end was not so sexy. With the business objects front end, it is critical to demonstrate because there is a wow effect that triggers minds and make business departments really buy and have a solution sooner than later. Where IT is always thinking about implementation and complexity of the project and so on, by showing the tool, you create the same effect than when a lady looks at a dress in a shop, or when a man looks at a car in a garage. Although these are very sexy comments, I would say. So finally, what I want to convey is that in the sales cycle, there is also a difference of attitude where you need to be a lot more proactive, do a faster qualification than on ERP, because your turn may well be gone with another vendor if you're not fast enough. Now, one thing I would like to concentrate on is what is the value proposition for an existing BW or NetWeaver BI customer. And this is an area where we have tried, and probably you partners have tried also, to approach such customers with the message that at that time was the message that we thought was compelling, which is talk to your usual contacts and show them the new front ends and they will like it. However, quite often this approach didn't prove to be successful. And the reason is the power users are very comfortable with BEX. They don't see any need for changing to another front end, because whatever they need to do today, they are able to do with BEX. So the right approach is, in fact, instead of going into these accounts and say, oh, we have a different strategy, is to say, we have a second step to our BI strategy. The first step with BW and BEX was to ensure the proper infrastructure, so building the data warehouse, which is a critical step in a BI project, and ensuring some basic reporting capabilities with BEX. Now, what we want to address is all the other usages and also enable all the other users in the enterprise. So, not just give access to a few power users, but really enable all the decision makers at field level and mid-level management or at the high end of the enterprise.